So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Carrie-Ann Koza. I lead our global operations in REF, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this special event brought to us by REF Spain. And hosting today, our expert insight is Andres Aramburu, REF Spain CEO and our partner in Madrid. Andres, I'm going to hand it over to you, but I just quickly want to mention to our members to turn on your video if possible. We want to make this as interactive as possible. Use the chat for questions and comments for the moment. We're going to leave lots of time for them. You can leave them in English or Spanish. We'll be able to do, we'll make do either way. And as always, this is being recorded. It will be made available to all of our REF members through the newsletter, through the app, through our YouTube. And also please know that below in your toolbar, you can see more, and it has like 3 dots with a circle around it. You can opt to activate captions in your choice of language. So let's dive in. Our platform is yours, Andres. Please take it away.
Thank you very much, Carrie, and welcome to everybody. Good morning for those of you who are in Latin America. I know it's a hard time to join us, but very thankful for that. We're going to be talking about the future of humanity and technology today. We have 2 great super guests with us that we are very proud to announce. And the reason for this is that we've been thinking about how things have changed in the past. We know that change is a constant change, or the only constant is change. We don't know how these changes will be, but the reason to meet here today is to present this alliance between Singularity Spain and REF in such a way, I will say, that they are our threshold to the world of technology, where we can peek, see what those changes will be like. But more importantly, how we must prepare ourselves as leaders to take awareness and understand those changes, what tools to use and align our objectives and our companies with this new and exciting future product of this technological revolution that we are witnessing. So today with me, I have Gonzalo Ortiz from Singularity Spain, and Diogo from Singularity Spain and Singularity Portugal. Let me say a few words about them. Gonzalo is a serial entrepreneur and at this stage in life, a serial investor as well. He is responsible for bringing Singularity together with Diogo to Spain and to give us access to all these programs that they will be having. And Diogo has been, well, he's very close to the academic world, and he's responsible for Singularity in Portugal. So those will be our guests today that I will be interviewing. Again, like Carrie said, if you have any questions, please write it down in the chat, and at the end we'll try to answer everything. We'll have some time for Q&A. So maybe starting with you, Gonzalo. Being an entrepreneur and a serial investor, tell us a bit about yourself and why invest now in Singularity and more technology, probably.
Well, thank you, Andres, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to this amazing crowd. And once again, you know, I love what REF does here in Spain and I guess worldwide. So happy to be with all of you, even though it's early times in Latin America. So thank you double time for that, taking the effort. Okay, so my case is being quite unique in terms of how I ended in Singularity. First of all, maybe I have to say that since I was graduated from college, I dedicate my time, my professional time, to technology, being always passionate about technology and data. And I think for me, you know, mixing these 2 things, business and technology, is the thing that I enjoy the most for that time. We're talking about 30 years ago. So I started the internet business in Spain at the same time as the internet was born here in the country. I remember my first business was only focusing in digital business with internet penetration in Spain of 2.5 of the population. So 2.5% of the complete population of Spain. So I was a really early adopter and you know, kind of a visionary in that term, although I never thought that those ideas could turn into such a important and big businesses. And since then, we are talking about 1995, I've been linked to this technology world. In fact, back in 2015, I was the first entrepreneur. I launched the first startup here in Spain that got listed in an international stock exchange, this being Australia, Sydney. And because of that, I think the whole career on professional and personal life, I've been linked to the develop of the digital economy since the very beginning times of the online, through the born of Google, Yahoo, Facebook, and all the big guys, and of course turning all that into smartphones, which I think was the huge shift that boom everything worldwide. And also doing businesses in 68 countries allow me to understand how technology, it's really a unique piece that connect humanity. You know, whatever you do in the online business is quite similar in every single country in the world. And this is something that is not usual to happen in other areas, in other industries. So because all of that, I ended somehow thinking about myself when I sold the company back in 2017. What should I do in terms to keep myself connected to the day-by-day online advances, you know, and then I realized that the best place for this was Singularity, and I started as an attendant and ended as a patron member, which is a few 40 people in the world that can attend this type of level inside a program inside Singularity. It's called Abundance 360.
Mhm.
And finally, I'm representing Singularity in Spain. And this is also thanks to Diogo that put his effort in making this to happen. And of course, because Singularity, after being really hit by the pandemic back in 2020, they are now deciding to spread the world one more time. So, you know, from being an entrepreneur to being an investor, and now participating in this amazing project, which is teaching everyone how humanity is going to be impacted by technology.
Great. Okay, so let's start. Maybe I have a question for you both. So talking about that, about being so involved with technology, how do you see the relationship between technology and the humans as technology starts to play a bigger role in our lives? Can we live without technology?
Well, it's a really good question. And I think we can live without technology if you want to live in an isolated place. If you want to go to, you know, the territories of the North in Canada, or maybe in the somewhere that you don't really get to know what's around you, just the wildness, you know, and probably an isolated island. But I don't think none of us can choose to live without technology if we want to be connected to the modern world, if we want to do businesses, if we want to improve the way we live, if we want to take a step forward on understanding how the world is transforming itself, you know. So I think there is no question about it. You know, you cannot pretend to live in such a modern world without technology. Even though if you dedicate time to, you know, mindfulness or meditation, as some of the monks in the Himalaya do, they may be without their smartphone for a while, but they will end it using it as well, you know. So I think technology is there as part of our thing that we breathe and we eat, and we need it around us to create what we are today.
Okay, so maybe for those who don't have a deep knowledge about Singularity, can you talk a bit about what Singularity stands for and what a future maker means? Because we're talking about creating the future as developed. So maybe can develop on that.
Yeah, sure. And I will pass it over to Diogo in a minute. Just for you to understand what Singularity goals and approach is. Okay, Singularity is based on the idea that humanity is entering into an exponential technology progress. That means that things that are still to be solved as the big the big problems that we are facing today in our world will be solved with technology. And this is because there are a bunch of different technologies emerging at the same time with a huge potential of transforming everything. And we are talking, of course, about artificial intelligence, which is kind of the umbrella that covers everything. But we are talking also about biotechnology, robotics, nanotechnology, renewable energies, 3D printing, anything that is linked to virtual reality, different ways of learning and creating new values around projects and industries. So the whole concept is transforming radically in such a small amount of time that there is not a single society that is not going to be impacted through this. And I think it's good to know that singularity refers to the technological singularity concept that was proposed by Ray Kurzweil, one of the two Singularity founders, that described the future point where machines will surpass human intelligence. So for the first time in history, while we are here as human beings, we are producing specific outcomes with technology that will be smarter than we are, and we are producing an intelligence that will surpass our intelligence. And it's the first time that humans will receive this huge amount of knowledge, this huge amount of help on solving any type of problem, not just because you will have your partners and your employees and the society working together, but also because we will have tons, millions of machines working towards, proposing solutions to the world's biggest problems. And I think, Diogo, maybe you can tell us a little about on how Singularity face these big challenges in terms of programs, in terms of teaching the leaders and the global leaders about what's going on.
Absolutely. And good morning or good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for joining us here in this interesting call. My name is Diogo Lobo. I'm Portuguese and I'm managing Singularity University in Portugal, but also director for Singularity in Spain, and trying to spread the word of exponential tech and what exponential technologies can give us, in many places. I lived in Spain for 12 years. So I was listening to Gonzalo and I wasn't even thinking about it, but I've always worked in internet-based programs, internet-based companies, internet-based businesses. And on your question, Andreas, about technology, I mean, if you want to live without technology, you can, but even the strict sense of the meaning of the word technology, it's a system that uses some tools to provide a solution or provide an answer. So it is very hard. And nowadays, what technology is doing for us, obviously, is making our life much faster. It's speeding up everything, but it is also giving us a lot of solutions. For example, we're talking here now to 60, 65 leaders from all over the world, and 10 years ago, this would not be possible. At least it would be difficult. And the bandwidth to make this possible in internet would be very, very expensive. So nowadays, it's very easy. So what technology gives us now, it's access. It's access to solutions, to people, to other cultures, to other ways of seeing the world. And what Singularity has been talking about since 2008, 2009, is exactly to understand, because Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis, they are in fact visionaries, because they understood that technologies can give us also the access, but it will give us the answer to many, many problems that we have. And it will give us the solutions to many problems that we have. You may say it will start new ones. Absolutely, it will start new ones. But it's for us leaders to understand exactly how to navigate this change, how to navigate this wave of technology, and use it for the proper good, the greater good. Because in the end, I truly believe that technology is giving us positive change. And this is what Singularity stands for. The main idea behind Singularity is how can we use exponential technology to solve the world's greatest problems. So the ambition is big because we were trying to solve bigger problems like hunger in the world, like the shortage of water, like having no electricity in many countries, in many parts of the world. So these are the problems that we're trying to face. And obviously Singularity, through the formats that we have, through the programs that we have, is trying to instill in leaders, in participants, one simple thing, which is the exponential thinking, the exponential mindset. And the exponential mindset that Singularity gives us through frameworks, to sessions, to keynotes, and also to workshops, it's this idea that why do we think about growing 5% every year if we can grow 500% in 2 or 3 years? Why do we think on growing only when we think about an expansion plan, we think about 1 year, 2 years, even 5. 5 years from now, it's a long, long time ago. It's very far. So nowadays, what we have to understand is how can we use what we have right now, but anticipate what can happen in 5 years, and a lot can happen in 5 years. So to me, Singularity is it's a light to explain to everybody how can we as leaders, because we have a responsibility as leaders in the business world, but also in the more private world. How can we solve our problems, and how can we make this a better world? And we have the technology to help us out. And technology can be used in both ways, obviously. But Singularity, it's all about positive change. It's all about access, and it's all about exponential thinking. And that's what we're trying to do with the many programs that we have. And Gonzalo already mentioned something. But yes, I think this is a positive view on how technology can help us solve the problems that we have and lead a better way, in a better life.
I was reading an article the other day about, and the concept of a future maker came up. So what's a future maker stands for, and what does it take to become a future maker, in your opinion?
Well, Gonzalo is a future maker because he viewed that internet had the capability of reaching out to other countries, to expand businesses much faster. And let me give you an example. I lived in Madrid and also lived in Barcelona. And I was living in Barcelona in an internet company selling products online. And we were selling products in Portugal, in Italy, in most of Europe. And suddenly we had operations in Chile. I don't know if we have some people from Chile or Argentina
Yes,
here.
we do. Yes, we do. I see them.
Great.
Yeah.
So loved being there. I lived in 6 months in Santiago. And suddenly I had the chance to go to Chile to, understand what could be done there. And pretty much 60% of the products were the same. They were being sold in Chile, in Italy, in Portugal, in Spain, in Germany. So suddenly we have a system, which is internet, that can connect all of us and sell exactly the same products, because people are people and the needs are pretty much the same. So suddenly the future maker is someone that understands, in this case, that technology can give us, this tool. It's a tool that can give us the way to do something different. Obviously, then it's your role, it's your job to do something about it. You may do it or may not, but the future maker is already thinking about, I think the future maker has a solution on his mind, but he doesn't know yet how. And then somebody looks for the means. He's looking for the tools, but the future maker knows exactly what the solution is. And then he goes and tries to find those tools. So I believe that in Singularity, what it's trying to do is give them the frameworks and give them the tools to those solutions. To me, that's what the future maker is.
Okay. Gonzalo, you want to add something to that, or?
Well, thank you, Diogo. I do feel myself like a future maker. I'm not sure if I'm not, but I think the most important asset for a future maker is the mindset. The way you understand things can change, things can develop. Not having any limits on accepting how to transform the world, how to transform businesses. And there are many, many good sentences that resume what a future maker is. I like the way of thinking that if anything go wrong, and fix it, it's not being fixed yet. Is that the day before something is a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. And if you think the amount of crazy ideas that we have heard through the last 10 years that became billion-dollar business, it's amazing, and the concept of creating value out of nothing, out of new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, disrupting industries and companies. I think that is a future maker. It's the way of understanding your mindset and to be ready to transform the way you do things.
Okay. talking about the future, we know that Ray Kurzweil's prediction for the future is that probably in the next 50 years, the world as we see will have or will experience more changes than in the last 2,000 years. So we know that that's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen exactly. And for me, if you add another issue, which is that we're going to be living longer, that means that we're going to have to find more tools in order to sail through those uncharted oceans of changes and for a longer time. So this could be a breakthrough in innovations, in paradigm shift that we have to somehow embrace and be prepared for that. So how do you see that? How do you see those changes and those challenges, and how business leaders can prepare for that future?
Okay, I would like to share a slide, if I may.
Yes, I think you are
think
host. Yeah.
I think. Let me check if I can do it. Yes, I can. Great. So let's look at this.
Okay.
So you're selling here this graph, which is an exponential graph about how the computation velocity is changing through the last 150 years. Okay, so we see that, of course, we've been linear in the computation scale until 1965, where everything started doubling, and this would be what happened
Okay.
in the 1970s. So this is the Moore's law, in which every 2 years computational speed doubles since 1965, but also drop the price by 2 in the same period. So we are seeing an amount of speed and computation that goes up and the cost going down. Okay, and if we go and we try to understand this in a way of putting where we are today, so we can say now that we have been growing exponentially, especially since 2015. We had an incredible impact in how we scale this. And if we think about how it's going to be in the next 6 years, as you can see, we are still there. You know, we are still growing in a computational speed, and the computational speed is linked to everything we do, you know, because it's the amount of it's the assets of the solutions for everything that is technological. Okay, so if you think about going at that speed for 6 years more, you could tell me, well, yeah, but we are still in the same spot. But let's look at where we are today versus 2030, and we are there. So what is going to happen is that in these next 6 years, the world is going to transform in a way that we have never seen before. It's going to be the impact of the technology in all the industries is going to be probably 10, 20 times bigger than anything we have seen so far. And especially because of the IA getting into every single industry to change again the rules. So this is what we're talking about. It's not where we're coming from, it's where we are going to, and the speed of the change. So if we don't get ready to assume this impact, there's no way you're going to be able to roll with it, you know, to get advanced with it. And of course, you know, the world's biggest problems is the world's biggest opportunities. So if we prepare for that, then we will be able to extract the whole value out of this momentum, you know. And I think it's not just that Ray Kurzweil is talking about this, it's that Ray Kurzweil predictions were exact in 94% of the cases, since he wrote Singularity is Near, this book back in 2007. And by the way, he just published the second book in Singularity is Nearest, and is just from this year. So if someone is interested in understanding how the world is going to transform in the next 5 to 10 years, yeah, go and download Ray Kurzweil's new book. I think it's quite a good help to understand where are we facing to.
Okay.
So,
well,
if I may, Andres, because it's something that Gonzalo was saying that, and it aligns a lot with Singularity. So many times what we see, and because we see rapid change, We see that everything is changing really fast, and we see that technology is coming up with solutions and ideas. We are coming up with solutions and ideas every 2-3 weeks are different from the ways before. So, and people get a little bit puzzled by this. I'm not,
Or
and
afraid,
you
or
don't have
afraid.
to, or afraid. Yes, I didn't want to use the word afraid, because you don't have to be afraid, because you don't have to be an expert on AI to use this. So there are many tools. What Singularity says is, if you do a course, if you do a keynote, or if you listen to a speaker with Singularity on AI, after that, you will know nothing about building an AI algorithm, but you will understand exactly where the world is going to, what are the main trends, and what are you going to do with it. And if you're specific to the sector or to the industry, you understand exactly what to do with it, and you get an idea of what to do next. And I think that's the main answer. So you don't have to be an expert, but you have to understand it. Like Gonzalo was saying, if you don't acknowledge what we see every day, that things are changing really fast, and you don't try to keep up, then
Okay.
you will have a problem within your life and your business. But you can use this, and it's not that difficult.
Okay, so building in that same road regarding your comment, then how do you think that businesses should balance their short-term operational needs with long-term investments in technology?
Well, that's a tricky question, Andres, because I don't know if you can really split both, you know. Let me explain myself. So what is a short-term need and what is a long-term need? Because the world is starting to accelerate in such a speed that things that seems to be long-term can be next month, you know. So it's important for everybody to understand that we as leaders are forced to understand what's coming. And the only way to understand what is coming is to listen to those who create the future, you know. And as Peter Diamandis wrote in his book, and also it's a good recommendation for all the audience if you are interested, the future is thinking or faster than you think. The future is faster than you think, you know. So don't think about the future of something that is out there and it won't impact you. The future is coming at a speed that we have never seen before. And let me tell you, for example, about AI. AI is developing itself at 10 times every 9 months. So it's 10 times bigger, smarter, faster, and intelligent every 9 months. There is nothing that we have ever worked with that multiplies by 10 in 9 months before. So we are not used to work with that, you know, and AI is entering now into the reprogramming system. So AI will teach AI how to understand things and how to develop his own intelligence, you know, and that is something that every single leader in the world should understand and should be aware of, understanding how the opportunities on their specific companies and industries should affect them. You know, it's like you can decide to go walking, but there are going to be thousands of people that are going to run in the same way, you know. So if you go walk and the rest of the people run, maybe you're going to get behind them, you know. So why to walk when you can run? And I think one of the best advices that we can give to the audience is to try to think if they have inside their company a chief AI officer. You know, we talk about all this C-level system in different companies, in different industries, and it doesn't really matter if your company is really small or really big, but think about who is taking care of that. Who is the chief AI officer and is thinking about how AI is going to transform your company. That's something that you should think about today. You know, as you were talking about long-term, short-term. For me, short-term is thinking about how AI should transform the company today.
Okay, understood. And probably it's very logical to have within your team somebody just dedicated to that. But what about the leaders? What do you think should be those set of skills that today's leaders and maybe future leaders must have must have in order to thrive these challenge of adapting to the rapidly changing environment that we're gonna see. So probably it's I don't know, just being completely open-minded, childish mentality,
A little bit. Yes.
dreamer.
I have a few of those that that for me it's the most important skills that leaders must have nowadays. First one is obviously creativity. So now we have tools. Everybody has the tools at their hands. We have a phone, a smartphone. We have AI doing a lot of things to us. So creativity, how can we use those tools? How can we dream a little bit beyond that? I think that's one of the main issues. Obviously, with creativity comes solutions. So problem solving is also another skill that we can develop and that we associate with creativity, because we already have the tools, already have the teams, but we have to foster this creativity and the problem solving skills on every team that we have in our businesses. And then two other that for me, a few years ago, this may be or not very important, but I would say radical thinking. Those crazy ideas that Gonzalo was thinking about suddenly are the ideas that are shaping the world and are changing the world. So why don't you have a crazy idea? Will always be a crazy idea. Some of them are applicable, some are not. But if you're thinking about something completely different, then that may be the spin-off of something else. And let me say something. There's a speaker from Singularity that a few years ago, he was saying, we will be living until, and this was like a few years ago, like 2020, that we will be living until 130 years old. Every one of us with quality and the ability to be present in this world. And 4 years ago, everybody was saying, so that's a crazy idea. Nowadays, 4 years after, it's not that crazy. So, certainly technology enables us to do that. And last but not least, I would say courage, because obviously you need to be, courageous to adopt this, to try to think beyond what's possible, and then try to do something about it. Other speaker of Singularity, he says that there's Spanish people don't like this, obviously, but if we cover all Spain with solar panels, we will solve the energy problem for the world for 6 months. Obviously, Spanish people won't like this, but it's possible, so the solutions are there, the means are there. And so we have to be courageous to adopt, obviously, bold solutions for what we have to do.
Okay, understand. And I would like to know a little bit more about Singularity's university mission. What can you talk us through a little bit about their mission?
Absolutely. So as I was mentioning before, the mission of Singularity is to solve the world's greatest problems. So as you may know, and maybe you have some people from the United States, there's an amazing mindset in the United States, which is everything is big, everything is great, and everything has to be done in a greater way. And so in the United States, Ray Kurzweil, Peter Diamandis thought, okay, let's use this. And we know that technology will enable us to do this, to solve the world's greatest problems. And obviously, if you then divide this into different blocks, you start to talk about different technologies, and you start to talk about the convergence of technologies. So Singularity's mission is all about how the convergence of technology can help us solve the problems that we have. Either the shortage of food in some part of the world, no electricity, how can I expand my business? How can I be a better person? How can I lead my company better? Or how can I be a better individual? So in the end, that's the main mission. How can I solve the world's greatest problems, starting by myself, with the use of technology, with the use of convergence of technology, so to speak. So I would say that's the main mission of technology, of Singularity.
Yeah, just for people to know that this has not been prepared, I think that you mean humanity's problems, because the world's problems could be from political
Humanity's
to
problem, absolutely,
yeah,
humanity's
so
problem.
Humanity's
Absolutely.
not the world's problem. I wish we can find a solution for all the world's problems that we're living today, but at least for our part, for the entrepreneurial part, for the committed leaders, we are the ones who have to come up with the solutions to all the problems around us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if we are courageous, we may not solve the problems, but at least we can start to, define a few paths, define a few ways to do that.
Okay. I want to make sure that we have time enough for questions from the audience. But I have to show you another one here. talk us about the Singularity University model, the zoom in, zoom out approach, and in which ways Singularity perspective examines the technologies through the lens of the applications of I think it's an individual, organizational, and then societal level. What's the, can you tell a bit about that process, that
Yes, yes.
approach?
So, well, it's really good to be able to talk about this type of questions here in this audience, because the audience is just full of people that enrolls and represent Singularity values. You know, Singularity is for leaders, is for entrepreneurs, is for executive teams and people that want to transform things and to lead the change, you know. And I think Ref is also linked onto that, you know, in thinking in a different way and helping people to transform their companies and their lives. The approach of Singularity is as any entrepreneurial approach is, you know, don't be afraid of failing, and if you do, just, you know, fail forward and stand up and keep on trying and try until you succeed, you know. The point here is you usually want to have a specific goal. You need a target in which you have to focus. And in Singularity, we like to work in a 5 to 10 year plan target and think that the biggest target you can imagine. You know, we usually say that the best way to become a billionaire is to impact 1 billion people. So your business must have a way of impacting 1 billion people in this planet. And that's the way you're going to be really transforming the way of doing businesses, you know, from linear to exponential. So imagine that you are able to think about something that could change the world, change the life, or impact into 1 billion people in 10-year time. And then you downgrade that into a 5-year plan, 3-year plan, 2-year plan, 1-year plan, 6 months, 3 months, and you will wake up knowing what to do tomorrow, you know, in order to track your target, to track your plan. So this is the way in which, if you understand that technology can improve in an exponential way, and you use that technology to do business with and to include your company in the same way of exponential increasing assets, then you will be participating in part of the game. You know, you will be rolling a company that will impact billions of people, that will create huge value, and that sooner or later we reach a point in a plan, you know. So thinking in a long-term plan to shorter plan to months plan,
Okay.
1-day plan.
Okay. And in that, thank you, Gonzalo. In that way of thinking as well, there's a question that comes to my mind, is that we as leaders probably have the not only the opportunity, but also the responsibility to be adapting to those changes. If we don't make it, somebody else will make it, and we might not like it. So as leaders, how do we adapt to those current changes to fit the game? In what way? No, are we really responsible for that?
Well, absolutely. I think as a leaders, we are forced to understand the changes and again the opportunities, and then as a leaders, we are forced to somehow teach the people and the teams that we lead. And that's why when Ray Kurzweil and Peter set up Singularity, they thought about the best way to impact 1 billion people with all these messages. But they knew that reaching 1 billion people is not that easy if you want to go by one by one. That's why they create this concept, this think tank, in which leaders can get together and from here spread the knowledge. So we as leaders, I think that we are forced to keep on learning, to keep improving what we do, not to be afraid of changes, not to be afraid of technology, and understand the huge impact that some of these great discoveries that are emerging right now kind of have in our companies, in our society, you know. So probably the
Yeah.
continuous learning is the most important thing for a leader right now.
And
Okay.
I also believe that, and I truly agree with you, Gonzalo. Every leader nowadays has a social responsibility within their roles. So if you're leading a team of 2 or a team of 2,000, you're impacting people's lives. So you're responsible for those people's lives, and you have to understand exactly what's affecting those people's lives, what's affecting your business, and how can you do better. So that's one thing that, you know, back in the day, people were managing their own team, their own business, maybe their own segment, and I only have to care about this. Nowadays, leaders are impacted by geopolitical aspects, by markets, by technological trends. You know, suddenly, let me give you an example. And I was discussing this 2 hours ago. We work with a company here and they have translation services. And you know, they were working with a lot of companies, and they wanted to, one of their clients wanted to change the advertisement into a few languages. You know, and that company that worked with translations was providing a service. ChatGPT changed that in 30 seconds. So suddenly this company has a major problem, which is a tool accessible for everyone that can do that in a minute or even less. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do? You have to accept this and improve that. Even matter what these translation companies doing is they're building their own LLM. So they're building their own agent on AI that will give us, you know, an opportunity, an advantage to do their business better. So suddenly leaders have to understand the impact, and this is a technological impact, but also a little bit outside of their business role. And social responsibility to me is very, very strong.
Yeah. No, but I think that's pretty much the key of the issue. No, we have to accept that either we stand up and take the responsibility for understanding what all these changes will mean for ourselves, for our companies, for our families in terms of living longer and all the technology, and we do something about it, or we are just out of the game. And that's why we started. Yeah, and that's why we started, you know, approaching Singularity, I think back in 2016. And for me, it's wonderful that I will have you guys in the neighborhood, the close by, not necessarily having to fly all the way to Silicon Valley, because Singularity University is in Spain, and with great programs where we can gather all the CEOs in those events and think tanks in order to let's say to move together, you know, to move together and help each other in solving the issues that most of them will be common for everybody, you know. So we can be doing things by ourselves, but definitely we are wiser if we are together. And that's one of the key concepts that we do in REF. That's why at the beginning I said that probably for me, the best way to address these challenges is by peeking through the threshold of Singularity University, because we in REF, we don't teach anything. No? We just want to move people's thinking about things that have to be done in order to stay ahead of the game, in order to stay 5 minutes ahead of our client needs and competition. So for everybody here in the call, that if for any reason we're going to be in Spain in the next month, in November 12 and 13, we're going to be holding the Singularity Summit in Spain. I strongly recommend, if you have a chance to stay in, I'll be joining there. But there's also some other programs available for all the REF community at very special conditions. Kerry, I don't know if I have any questions there from the audience. Somebody else, or do we have any questions? Any? Do you think?
Sure, yeah, if you look in just a little bit up in the chat, or the main challenges for governments to facilitate the private sector to be a part of this exponential development.
Where's that? I'm sorry. One more time.
We've got
The
a
chat?
question.
From Alex?
If you scroll up to, you've got Alfredo Romero who sent a question at the very
Oh,
beginning.
okay, sorry. Okay, what are the main challenges for governments to facilitate the private sector to be part of the exponential development, from Alfredo? And then we have a question from Alex as well.
Well, I may share another slide here because I think it's quite interesting to see how technologies is not really updated, but I like this idea of understanding the way that unicorns have appeared in the ecosystem. Okay, I think you see it now. So here we have this slide of from I have an idea to I am a unicorn. Okay, and this is taken from 2011 to 2016, and as you can see at the beginning, the appearance of unicorns were, like small dots in the way of startups were creating value. But
Gonzalo, can you project it, because it's a little bit small
okay.
down in
Let me
down
check.
here.
What about this?
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
I think it's better. Okay.
Good. So I was thinking about, how these unicorns appear into the ecosystem of companies, increasingly covered by unicorns, since we were passing from these early moments of 2011, where big companies, online companies, were getting there. But suddenly we have this exponential growth in unicorns. And of course, you stop there, because if you keep going to 2024, you will see just a black dot full of logos. You won't be able to recognize them. And I think better than thinking about government, which of course they will be, independent of what part of the world, we have the US like economy leading this technological revolution, probably in parallel with China. But the problem with China is a governmental technical revolution in China, and in the US is a private technical revolution. So the point is that when it's private, it's supposed to be open and more clear than when it's governmental. We don't know what's going on in China, although we know they are doing incredible things. But you can see it. You can see it from the outside. They keep it from themselves. So I think we have to think about us creating value, and then governments creating rules. Okay, the governments will create rules to protect individuals and companies and so on from technological risk. But they always arrive late. They are creating rules for things that are already out there. It's really difficult to create a rule for something that doesn't exist. And by the time it exists, it goes up in an exponential way. And it's like TikTok. It took about 19 days to hit 100 million people with TikTok. But the good thing about this is that the exponential replies, and for ChatGPT, it took only 6 days to have 100 million people using it. So how you gonna regulate something before 100 million people download it and use it in 6 days?
Yeah.
I think governmental is good to have. And in Europe, you all know that we have a lot of help from European governments to produce technological assets, and you get some type of aids and other investment in your company if you are creating value in this environment. But I don't think you can develop your business thinking about that. I think you have to be independent and think about how to create the most value in the less time. And probably you will have to reach, what's the economic rules in the startups, raising money, sharing your equity, and putting, the value out there.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered the question, by the way.
Well,
Let me
basically,
also,
yeah.
let me also share, Andre, that I think the
Sure.
first, when I saw this question, the first thing that came to mind is get out of the way. So what governments
The
can do,
government. Yeah.
the governments can get out of the way. And what we can do is, work, find these solutions, develop these businesses, make them so big that suddenly, the government has to pay attention to something that is so big they have to regulate, or they have to understand how this is impacting our society. but do not be afraid to do it, and do not wait for governments to help you, because as Gonzalo was saying, governments will regulate, governments will kind of be there to regulate this. But I think it's, again, the social responsibility, but also in this case the business responsibility of the dealer to go out there and create what needs to be done. And then obviously when it's big enough, governments will pay attention.
Yeah, I see that government regulation is like that shadow that it's chasing the original form, no? It's always behind, lagging.
You
Okay,
can see
thank you.
that with AI. We can see
Yeah.
that with AI here in Europe. I mean, suddenly there's a regulation that came after what AI is doing already.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a question from Alex. Thank you, Alex. Hi, Gonzalo, Diego, and Andres. I have one question. My biggest fear is that I do not have enough knowledge about technology programming and to implement technology. I need to rely on someone. What's the best way to manage this?
Well, if you attend the program at Singularity, you'll find many people that have the same problem and are looking for the same solution. As I was saying before, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a techie to use this, but obviously it's helpful to surround yourself with people that have that knowledge, or people that want to use that. You may not have that knowledge, Alexander, but you may have other knowledges, and if you combine your expertise, your knowledge, your experience with other people that have other tech experiences, then you're on the right track. So I would say go out, find the proper forums to get to know these people. And obviously, if you have a little knowledge, it's helpful, but you don't have to be an expert to use this. Gonzalo has many examples of products and services from their companies that, you don't have to understand zero about technology to use technology.
I agree.
Let me double click on that. Alex, I know you're a member of Madrid, and you can share also this with your peer group at REP, how they're using that. And not only that, but most likely before the year end, Gonzalo will be attending one of the group that you are, one of your groups, or at your group, for giving us to do the educational component. So you have time to address that and to see how other people are addressing these issues. And again, be open to experiences, to new experiences in that sense.
Yes, and maybe just to give one point here, Andres, we all have to be ready to increase our knowledge. The biggest difference about the technology revolution that we all lived 15 and 10 and 5 years ago, and in which we are managing our businesses, our lives with social network and online businesses and technology, is that we use it as the way of finding things, of producing assets, of it's kind of another way of working with the online system. But we don't really get more knowledge out of it. Now, with the AI, this is going to change dramatically. We all of us going to have the ability of gaining knowledge in exponential way. The AI will teach us how to do things that we have never done before, and even though it will do it for us, so I think the knowledge it's there, and if you can work a little bit with AI engines, you will find that it's much easier to implement what you need than what you think. But yeah, maybe don't be afraid of open the company to the AI and start working with it.
Okay. Well, our partner from California, Rick Francie, hi Rick, is asking if we can get him in touch with Singularity over there in California. Of course, I think we can ask them to put you in contact, although we strongly suggest, Rick, that you have the excuse to come visit us in Spain now, but we'll follow up on that for you. Any more questions, or we are very close to our time? Maybe you guys want to wrap it up, or Carrie, should we wrap it up?
Go ahead. Go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
You can closing
Ref,
words.
Rick will be in Spain in July 2025. Take your word on that. Take your word on that, Rick. All right. So I think this is not the end. This is the beginning of a new journey, and so it doesn't end here. It starts here. A journey that we'll be doing together between Ref Global, is not only Ref Spain, and Singularity Spain, that also has access to all the other programs, where we want to leverage on their knowledge and on the programs in order to try to understand what are the opportunities, challenges, and most critical issues that we as leaders must face, and in a way that we can access to them as tools, as practical tools, and keep learning and keep getting stronger on those concepts. So thank you very much, Gonzalo and Dio. Again, really looking forward to this summit next November 12th and 13th. Thank you for all the special conditions for all the REF members, which are, again, for all the REF members, not only in Spain. And if you want to do some closing words, we'll be more than happy.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Diego.
Absolutely. I first of all, thank you so much for taking the time, for spending an hour with us, with your busy schedules, and at the time frame that it is in your country. So it was really interesting to be here and discuss these topics. Thank you, Andres, for setting it up. Thank you, Ref Spain and Ref Global. I would say that my final comment is that be bold about this. Technology it will always be here to help us out. We'll always be here. We'll always create more and more. We will always create different solutions. We'll always create different approaches to technology and the usage of technology. And so be bold and accept this, accept it, and be courageous about it. So if you want to know something about it, go and look for it. If it's not Singularity, some other source, it's no problem, but please do not stay still, understanding that, the technological wave is coming. The technological wave is already here. We've been using AI since the 50s. But now AI has entered the exponential curve and everybody's looking into it. So accept this and do something about it. You won't regret it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dogo. Okay.
Yeah, maybe the main message I would like to end with is your mindset. Again, be ready to transform the way you think and be ready to do something about it, because something is much bigger than nothing. So instead of sitting down and doing nothing, get ready and do something. And if that something is the proper way and you find it that it's working, just keep on going, and transform your mindset in an exponential way of thinking, because the world is becoming exponential no matter what we do.
Understood. And sometimes we don't do it because we have those glass ceilings, but we have to break through. I mean, just don't be afraid of relearning a lot of things. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Kat, for setting this up. And thank you for everybody attending. This call has been recorded. So if you want to see it again. And of course, Gonzalo and Diogo are available at any time for any further whatever discussions or calls that we might have. And if you're in Spain, we'll set it up as well. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.